What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Dude Hines Show. In this video, I'm going to be continuing my series of Path to the Draft. This Path to the Draft video is of the Chicago Bears. I'm going to be talking about the Chicago Bears off-season moves and also be doing a three-round mock draft for Chicago from ProFootballNetwork.com. Let's go ahead and get started here. Look at some of these moves for the Chicago Bears. Obviously, they kind of surprised a lot of people by trading Khalil Mack to the Los Angeles Chargers. Some of their signings were they signed linebacker Nicholas Morrow. They signed wide receiver Byron Pringle. They signed St. Brown, the former wide receiver who used to play for the Green Bay Packers. They signed defensive tackle Justin Jones, and they also signed edge rusher Al Quadin Muhammad. They didn't have a ton of money in cap space, but I kind of like some of these, additions that they brought to Chicago. Something else, they originally signed Larry Ogunjobi, defensive tackle, to a 3-year deal worth $40.5 million. But Ogunjobi did not pass his physical. So, that contract, fell through and everything. But, looking at, some of these deals here for Chicago, like I said, they traded Khalil Mack to the Chargers. And in that trade, they received the Chargers 2022 second-round pick, and they also received the Chargers 2023 sixth-round pick. The Chicago Bears have $24 million in dead cap space with the Khalil Mack trade this season. But, with this trade, this helps free them $28.5 million in next year's offseason, which is great for Chicago, who I think, has potential to be a really nice team in a year or two. And some of these other, additions, like I said, looking at linebacker Nicholas Morrow here, he did not play in the 2021 season because he had a foot injury. But, in the 2020 season, he probably had his best year ever. He had 78 tackles and also 3 sacks. They signed him to a 1-year deal worth $3 million. Like I said, some of these other additions here, they signed defensive tackle Justin Jones to a 2-year deal worth $12 million. This past season, Justin Jones played 11 games. He had 37 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 fumble recoveries. I like this signing here, and it's kind of like a replacement for Ogunjobi, since he failed that physical. Some of these other guys here, Byron Pringle, the wide receiver who used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, 1-year deal worth $4 million. Last season with the Chiefs, he had 42 receptions for over 550 yards. He also had 5 touchdowns as well. When you look at the Chicago Bears team, they do not really have many good wide receivers. Allen Robinson left in free agency, and he is now with the Los Angeles Rams, so they could really use some more wide receiver help. And I like this in here by getting Pringle to get some more weapons for Justin Fields. Like I said, that's another wide receiver here in St. Brown, the former Green Bay receiver. And, he did not play many games, for the Packers last season. He had 9 receptions for Green Bay last year, but he only had 17 targets. And I feel like when you look at this Chicago Bears team, a team who does not have many good wide receivers, I feel like he's going to have more of an opportunity to have a better season with Chicago. Maybe he can resurrect his career and have a better season this year than opposed to last year with Green Bay. Like I said, they also signed edge rusher Al Quadin Muhammad, and this move I think is very underrated. They signed him to a 2-year deal worth $10 million. Last season he had 48 tackles and 6 sacks. There's already a connection here, with Eberflus, their new head coach. He was the defense coordinator with the Indianapolis Colts, and that's where Muhammad came from, is Indianapolis. So there's already a connection there. I think it makes a lot of sense, why he came to Chicago. He's already familiar with the new head coach. But, I kind of like some of these signings here for the Chicago Bears. I know some people might not like them trading Khalil Mack. I can understand that. But if you're a team who's trying to rebuild, it's kind of better off to go ahead and get rid of Mack right now, because maybe in a year or so, they might not get a second-round pick. Maybe they get a third-round pick instead. But let's go ahead and look into this, mock draft here from Pro Football Network, a 3-round mock draft here. So the Chicago Bears do not have a first-round pick, obviously, because, they traded that to, trade up last season to get Justin Fields, the quarterback right now. The Chicago Bears have 2 second-round picks and 1 third-round pick. And when you kind of look at the Chicago Bears right here, I could see maybe an edge, defensive tackle, wide receiver, corner, really probably any of those 4 positions, in my opinion. Here, looking at Pro Football Network, you can see some of their needs. They have them have wide receiver, defensive tackle, corner, safety. When you look right here at 23, I'm shocked that Daxton Hill is available as safety from Michigan. I think that's somebody they should definitely look at. I know this might not be their team need. Like, they don't need the safety more than the wide receiver. But Daxton Hill, to me, at 39 is kind of a player. It's just too hard to pass up on. So I'm going to have them taking Daxton Hill here with a 39th pick overall. I love that pick there for Chicago. You know, teams, in my opinion, I feel like you should always draft the best player available opposed to team need. And, you know, they could use some more safety help, and I love that pick up there for the Chicago Bears. David Ojabo, the edge rusher from Michigan, is a guy who for sure would have been a first-round pick, and he still might be a first-round pick. But he's dropping quite a bit due to a injury at Michigan's pro day, and is more than likely going to miss the majority of the 2021 season. He's still available here at 48. I think that's somebody to look at here. If Chicago goes edge, maybe with one of their 2 second-round picks. Looking at some wide receivers here, to me, there's no really wide receiver that stands out here at pick 48. But, defense, David Ojabu, Boye Mafe, the edge rusher from Minnesota. We have Travis Jones, the defensive tackle from UConn. I really like David Ojabu, the edge rusher from Michigan. I also really like the corner from UTSA, Tariq Woolen. He is 6'4". He ran a 40-yard dash of a 4.26. Very underrated. He has a ton of potential, in my opinion. So looking at here, we already kind of attacked the secondary by getting Daxton Hill, the safety from Michigan. Want to stay with the Michigan Wolverines. Another player here. I want to take David Ojabu, the edge rusher. Like I said, they have 1 third-round pick. And I'm kind of looking at wide receiver here. Jalen Tolbert and Sky Moore are both available too. Very nice wide receivers who are not playing at top-tier competition. Jalen Tolbert is from South Alabama, and Sky Moore is from Western Michigan. Justin Ross, also from Clemson at 70, maybe look at here with the 71st pick overall. I think they go wide receiver here, in my opinion, if they haven't already with one of their 2 picks before this pick. I'm going to have them taking Jalen Tolbert with the 71st pick overall. I love that, draft pick there by the Chicago Bears. And I know in this mock draft, I might not have hit some of their other top team needs, but they have several, 4th and 5th round picks as well. So maybe they can get a defensive tackle, maybe a guy like Haskell Garrett, one of those picks as well. Maybe a corner, maybe Kobe Bryant if he's still available. So when you look at this mock draft here, I like these picks quite a bit here for the Chicago Bears. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It'll be very interesting to see what the Chicago Bears do in the 2022 draft. We are less than 2 weeks away. That about does it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel or if you've seen my videos before, I would really, really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time on the Sports Dude Hines Show.